Protests in Cuba continue as they are calling for an end to the 62-year-old dictatorship. And we are joined today with our Florida Senator Janet Cruz as she continues to fight for the people in Cuba. So hello, Janet. Thank you for joining us. And Senator, if you can just start by why people in Florida are so passionate about the issues going on in Cuba, I think that would be a great place to start.
Well, you know, early on, many years ago, Cuba was a resort town that Floridians often flew to. As you would fly to the Bahamas for a weekend or to St. Thomas, Cuba was full of casinos and beautiful beaches, and it was a place that was near and dear to many Floridians' hearts. And then I think it was in the 60s, around, I don't remember the exact year, we had the Mariel boat lifts where there was an infusion, a great influx of Cubans that left Cuba and are here. So I grew up in Ybor City in Tampa, which was a Latin community that was, you know, these cigar factories, and the Cubans came over to roll cigars, as did my grandparents and great grandparents, along with the Spaniards and the Sicilians. So it was a real Latin community. And when we saw the Castro regime take over, it is a story that many Tampanians here are endeared to and have worried about the communist ranks in Cuba for a long time.
So let's just jump right into it then and talk about what people are calling for. They want that freedom. What finally made them step out now here today? It's been a lot of issues that they've been having in their country.
Well, you know, many of these issues are not new to them, but right now there is an atrocious lack of food and medicine, a lack of vaccines for the coronavirus. They were present before, but they've been exacerbated by this pandemic. And when you see people in an oppressed society such as this, that they understand what will happen to them if they protest a communist government. Yet they are so moved. They are saying, as they take to the streets and protest, they're saying that I am willing to die. These folks that you see here, they're willing to die to protest these atrocious conditions in their country, because right now they're not living. They're hungry. They're without medicine. That the country has turned off the internet. So we here in Tampa that have family there don't even know if the families are okay. You know, Cuban President Diaz-Canel has openly called for supporters of the regime to go out into the streets and silence what he calls the counter-revolutionaries. Guess what? These are not counter-revolutionaries. These are men and women and children who are fighting to live and saying that I'm willing to protest and die rather than live like this. My heart aches for Cuba and the struggles that its citizens are experiencing, and they've endured this for 60 years, but now it's worse than ever. These folks have been pushed to the edge and say, just kill me then. I'm going to go protest. Just kill me because I can't live like this anymore.
Yeah, you mentioned coronavirus. That's obviously been a topic that a lot of us have been focused on in this past year during the pandemic, but they are seeing their last 7-day average, just under 500 cases has been their average. So again, it's something that they're dealing with right now. Tell me a little bit more about some of those stories that you're hearing from people, because as you mentioned, there's some people who are saying, oh no, this is all a lie. The people out here who are protesting shouldn't be out there on the streets.
Oh my goodness. I mean, if you've ever been to Cuba and you see that these folks are still driving cars from 1956 to 60, if you've ever visited Cuba and gone to the hospital and seen the conditions of what they call a hospital, and buildings that are falling apart and infrastructure that is disastrous, you know, we cannot let this moment go by. We cannot let this just be another headline for this week. And then forgotten for next week. They need us, you know, raising our voices and supporting their valiant efforts on this island is a monumental step for these people. These folks have been oppressed, and they are willing to, again, what I say, risk their lives to be sure that all eyes are on Cuba for awareness. And you see that the government has blacked out the internet because they don't want people to see what's going on. These major protests have only begun in Cuba, but this struggle and this fight is a battle. It's decades in the making, and we cannot let the efforts be in vain. The Cuban people need us right now, and we can't forget Cuba. We just can't forget them right now.
Now, I want to get your thoughts on yesterday. Secretary Mayorkas is saying if Cuban people come to the U.S. by boat, you're not going to reach the U.S. You're going to be diverted to another country. So what are your thoughts on that as they're trying to flee and find freedom?
Well, I think that we're going to still see folks, as I have seen through my lifetime in Florida, we're still going to see folks on rafts and boats that are going to come to Florida. And Florida has done an exceptional job of welcoming the Cuban refugees, and I think that we'll find a way to continue to take care of them if they come to our state.
So what are you asking from your fellow colleagues? Because obviously there's not a whole lot that sometimes we feel like we can do. So what are you asking from fellow senators?
I'm asking to help me evoke some change. We have to get medicine to the islands. We have to get food. We have to ask for a peaceful takeover of Cuba. And I think the time is now more than ever to ask for a peaceful transition and let these people live a life with some dignity and at least basic needs like food and water and medicine.
And as you do have more protests planned and demonstrations down in the state of Florida, why would you encourage then Floridians to step out and show their support to the Cuban community?
Well, I have family that were immigrants that came to Tampa to work the cigar factories, and I understand the struggle, and the fact that I sit on the Senate floor is nothing short of a miracle, in my opinion. So, I never forget the shoulders that I stand on and the folks who did without so that I could live the life that I'm living. And I feel as if I owe it to these people. I mean, how could we not? We have people that are hungry. They're dying. We'll see bodies piling up from COVID and the new strain in Cuba because they're just not vaccinating. It's a nightmare, and people are pushed to the edge there. They're just saying no more.
Yeah, and obviously they need people here in the United States to also help be advocates for them, be voices for them. That one person that we are talking to now is doing just that. So thank you again, Senator Janet Cruz, for joining us here on Live Now from Fox and sharing why we all need to be standing up for those in Cuba.
You're very welcome. Thanks. Have a great day.